So one of the things we find is that people have lots of intuition about how life works. We think we understand what drives ourselves and other people. Turns out our intuitions are often wrong. And one of the things I find about marketers is they often trust their intuition. They think their intuitions are very good. But if they're not, then they might be misleading clients, and not just one client. They might be misleading lots and lots of clients over time. So taking a step back and saying, what do I believe is happening? And let me give some evidence about that, I think is actually crucial. I like to think of myself as a social hacker. You know, we look at the social environment and we say, what can we change? That's basically what marketers are trying to do. And to understand the tools that we have to change human motivation, I think is just a central, it's the central aspects of marketing and the central aspect of what we're doing. It would be nice if it was integrated better.
Excellent. What are the, Claire was sitting me because I keep going,
yeah, moving. Okay.
No, yeah. What would be, what are areas you think that marketers would do well to look at that maybe haven't been looked at, or areas of research that you would point them to that you have done or colleagues in the area have done?
So I think the general area of human motivation is really important and underdeveloped. So if you think about it, there's lots of stuff that we would like to do, and we just have a very hard time doing. Dieting, exercising, safe sex, saving money. All of those things are things that in the long term would be good for us. In the short term, we have a very hard time doing. Now, it turns out that you can give people lots of information. You can say, hey, it's really good for you to save. It's really good for you to have safe sex. It doesn't really work. So what we need to do is we need to develop methods to get people to do the right things for the wrong reasons. And that's really what marketing is good for, right? Imagine that we tapped your ego motivation. Imagine that we got you to care about energy, not because you think about what the state of the world will be in 200 years, but we think about how your ego would benefit from that, how your friends will think better of it. You save, not because you can really imagine what will happen 40 years from now, but you think about some current reward or some current structure. So I think that the phrase, doing the right thing for the wrong reasons, is an essential for marketing. There are some things we're just not designed to care about, and marketing can get us to care about other things that would get us to behave as if we care.
That's very interesting because we work a lot with energy companies. We work with California, the state of California, getting people to try and save energy, and with PG&E. So that's really, really interesting. There is, of course, a huge thing, which is what we say we want and what we do.
Yeah, and this is where I think marketers kind of both rely on their own intuitions, sometimes wrongly, and on focus groups. You know, this actually focus group really upsets me because you take a group of 12 people that know basically nothing about your business, and you listen to them, and sometimes way too carefully. And the question is why? And I think the reason is that you get sentences. Jim said X. And once Jim said X, everybody could put it on the PowerPoint slide, and everybody can get excited about it. But the fact is that Jim doesn't know what he's saying, and often he's just saying something, and after he says it, he starts believing it, but before, never, it didn't have to be the case. And we really need to have more systematic data. Right? I mean, the problem with data is that we're not as impressed with a survey of 1,000 people that the final answer is 7.3. It's just not as appealing as Jim saying that. But the reality is that that's the kind of approach we need to take. We need to be much more data-driven and, in fact, experimental, not just based on correlations.
We overestimate the importance of vivid data as marketers as well as consumers.
Yeah. So there's this basic effect called the identifiable victim effect, which is the idea that you care about one little kid much more than you care about a million kids. The caring as a proportion of number of people doesn't go up, it actually goes down. This was the one thing that Mother Teresa and Joseph Stalin agreed on. Joseph Stalin said one death is a tragedy, a million is a statistic, and Mother Teresa said if I look at the masses I will never act, if I look at the one I will. And it turns out the same thing happens in focus group. You look at a big amount of data, you just don't care and not that influence. You look at one piece of information, your heart goes to it, you can imagine it, and all of a sudden your actions follow.
So marketers in doing that might be confusing their marketing strategy with their marketing analysis.
That's right. The gut intuition about what happens and their emotion that is being evoked with what's the real good outcome for their clients.
That's brilliant. Anything else, anything that you might say about the Institute of Decision Making or anything like that? Is it kind of...
So, you know, I'm very hopeful about this institute. I think advertising and marketing in general have suffered from a lack of rigorous experimentation. People collect data, but collecting data is not the same as experimentation. So I'm very happy about this aspect, saying, hey, we have different theories, let's bring them to bear and let's see which one wins. I think that's a very important aspect. The second thing is, an academic, it's a little frustrating. We've been working for a long time, generating a lot of data, and nobody's using it. Everybody's basically ignoring it. So lots of useful stuff, lots of money has been developed, pump into it, effort, energy, desire, hopes. And some people get tenure, and we publish papers, but nobody's really using it. So the idea that there will start being more systematic use of this base of data is actually quite exciting.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much indeed.
My pleasure.
Great. Thank you. And